there is a playbook that is available from maybe how financial services sector has gone through a transformation in terms of looking at it. So when people are looking at an UPI, one from a regulatory mandate from the RBI, two from an kind of unified protocol that has happened, three payment centricity, because is there fundamental value that the citizen feels when they are transacting. So in education, when you said 5 crore students to 10 crore students in higher education alone, you said 34 crore students in the upper, more number of universal in secondary education. I think the moment is the number of students are going to double. Currently, it is very student fee driven or government scholarship driven. So to one extent, it's doubling the market with more amount of scholarships and grants given from kind of the government, or on the private side, whether it is going to happen. I think it's a moment, because many times you don't see this doubling of the GER. We will move from probably 28% or 30% towards a 50% GER. And as sir was saying, I think that's a fundamental shift which will require a lot of people to come into the colleges, because they have crossed 10th standard, they have crossed 12th standard. They are looking at gaining some form of skill and education from the higher education ecosystem. So I think that's one point that I think we will need to deliberate. The second one is there is no more separation of education and skills. You are acquiring the skills for kind of your livelihood. You are acquiring the skills for getting employed into other places. So what is becoming extremely important is, do I have a verifiable credential? Many times, sir, what we are hearing is, this institution has quality, this institution does not have quality. This program has quality, this program does not have quality. So in an ecosystem, actually there is lack of trust whether somebody has really gained a skill or not. So that is something that is there. So while there are a lot of, like what sir was mentioning was also in terms of rapid product development, curriculum development in the universities. Every university is now updating their curriculum 15% every year. So which means that in 5 years time, you are expected to completely rehash your curriculum. If that happens, and I need to verify that skill and make them employable, there is no one common place for the employer to say, this is the skill that has been learnt in the institute and which can be demonstrated. Today, as an employer, I'll tell you, I get a lot of CVs. It just comes with some degrees and courses that you have done, but I'm not sure whether they have gained that skill. That assessment needs to happen and how it is happening. The second point that I will say is, while there is a doubling of GER and huge, I think it's an opportunity for private play. It is an opportunity for government to expand. The second thing is, how do you build trust within the ecosystem? It's not about one college or whatever it is. The student wants a job. The students want a livelihood. That skill has to be exposed, or rather made visible to other stakeholders, whether it is employer, whether it is financer, scholarship or others. That verifiable credential becomes something that is very important. 3, in the last 5 years with the national education policy and several systems, whether it is MOOCs, whether it is the registry, whether it is the NCRF, a lot of things have eased out. But the point is, how do we really put all this together into a guardrail? Because even in the UPI, when we had a beam, when we had probably payment, we are able to visualize how UPI works. Otherwise, UPI would have been a protocol construct. So here, that interoperability has to be demonstrated. So a couple of things that I always wonder is, US tried Digital Credential Consortium. 10 universities come together, they accept each other's credits. It might be the IITs, it might be the public institutions, even it might be some private universities which form consortiums to accept each other's credits. Is that happening? Australia and New Zealand created a MyQual. You can get a qualification that will be acceptable both in Australia and New Zealand. So somewhere down the line, it is all, this interoperability, if it does not come in, if I can go from one system to another, one university to another, university to employer, I have a common language. Today, that language is not understood. That verification is not there. In fact, from an employer side, I'll tell you, if I get 100 CVs, I just doubt whether 80 are fake CVs. fake credential. I do pre-employment background check, pre-academic qualification background check. Is your certificate even valid? Right? That loss of trust. So verifiable credential, trusting that system, going back and checking with the employer, checking with probably the university becomes a live transaction. Is that an infrastructure? Is it available as an infrastructure, or is it just one-off in the institutions? One institution is following for 100 doesn't help. So I think it's the time, sir, in terms of bringing all this together into the ecosystem. Because if we don't build trust, because regulators are saying we have eased it out. Mandates, orders are being given for everyone to follow. Why nobody is kind of following it? Is it not? Is it value? Is it more acceptance of each other's credits? Are the employers really brought into this forum, and is there a common way to look at it? Today, I think the common language is missing. One way of looking at UPI, sir, is how does universities, industries, financiers, scholarships, and whatever banks, the way they look at it, everyone looks at the student, the program, right? How do they fund the program, and is it outcome based, like what you had indicated? It's not about just joining, enrolling a student. Did the student really acquire the skill is why he is paying the fee. Because education is the only industry where you pay the fee, you might not consume the service. So I think UPI will help in terms of saying whether he attended, whether he consumed that service, and whether he acquired that credential, and hence the fee transfer happens. If credits and fee are not linked, I think policy is missing something, because credits go in one direction, funding goes in other direction, it becomes economically unviable. Because of which I think institutions might not look at it. Maybe because the forum has 2-3 different varieties of public as well as private institutions. My thoughts is there seems to be a disruptive opportunity of doubling GER, which means more students, more fee, better absorption that can happen. Interoperability, how do we really look at it? Because there are infrastructure that is available, but why don't we use it? What could be MVPs? To make it happen, I think what could be some possible pilots or something that can happen? If we deliberate about that, that will be quite kind of useful. Otherwise, we have disparate systems. These systems will be operating on their silos. We might not have an UPI moment in India. But if we collaborate and create common language, I think in the next 5 years, probably like what we saw, 70 million students are there, credits are verifiable, employers are having. That could be some point that I thought I'll just keep, sir.